Let's talk a little more now about the 4 statewide ballot initiatives known collectively as Let's Go Washington. Initiative 2109 would repeal the state's capital gains tax. 2117 repeals the state's carbon offset market tax known as the Climate Commitment Act. 2124 repeals the mandatory payroll deduction for the state's long-term care insurance program. And 2066 repeals the disincentives passed to discourage the ongoing use of natural gas. On election night, our Steve Kiggins will be tackling these initiatives, and he joins us now with more on Let's Go Washington. Let's face it, there's not a lot that's probably in play in Washington state. I think the Dems will keep the triple play in state government. We're a known blue state nationally, but these 4 ballot initiatives, what do you think about them, and what do you think their power may be to draw voters?
Well, I think probably 1 or 2 of them have probably some pretty strong power to draw in the electorate. I think we're talking about the Washington Care Act issue and 2117. The other 2, they are important for certain. I don't think they really impact as many folks as they do the other 2. So yeah, that might be a good poll, perhaps.
Yeah, so let's talk about 2117, the Climate Commitment Act. Groundbreaking. We joined California in creating this carbon market. On the one hand, it is a market-based solution, so the Republicans have that. On the other, it does come at a price, and the low-hanging fruit there is higher gas prices. So how do you see this playing out? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's interesting as you talk about this market exists. It's small, but now other states are actually looking to Washington to see how we are doing things. And this initiative could really derail all of that. I think probably 2117 has the strongest power likely to draw in voters to remain interested in what's happening, because the message on either side is strong. You're talking whether or not we save the state's ability to pay for programs that address climate change or prepare for it, and then the other one talking about hitting the pocketbook. I mean, this is something that everyone deals with.
With higher gas prices.
Gas prices and the cost of everyday business, having everything grow in expense.
Yep. How
does that not reach every voter?
And 2117 feeds something between $750 and $1 billion a year into the state budget. And you mentioned, for climate resilience efforts, but also education and a lot of things that are very near and dear to voters' hearts.
For certain. It doesn't necessarily draw down a black and white kind of line. Mm-hmm. It would be a lot easier if it certainly did, but that's just not the world we live in. And so that's, I think, what kind of gets lost in this mix is what is the obvious trade-off that we see. We're really good at understanding things that are black and white directly in front of us. But if we're talking about educational programs, some of that stuff is kind of important for certain, but not necessarily easily tangible and to understand or impact really everyone, but has an impact for the rest of society that might be beneficial.
Last 30 seconds here talking about Washington Cares. It too is a pocketbook issue because that comes out of your paycheck. That people see that one too. What do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
I think the state probably is a leader in that same kind of arena, but I think what I've seen in some drawback for some people that are critical of the CARE Act is, say they've been working in a job and they've been making these payments, they leave the state. Where does that money go?
Yep.
So very difficult. I think that's probably pretty important alongside I-2117 that might bring in quite a few voters.
It will be interesting to see how this all works out. Steve, thanks so much for joining us on Northwest Now, taking a look at the 4 big ballot issues here in the state of Washington.
Good to see you.